All right, troops. Today, we're diving into Project Nemesis by Will Crudge, released exactly 1 year ago, the first book in a 7-book military sci-fi series. This one's all about shady corporations and some top-tier world building. In this future, humanity has colonized the galaxy, but not in the way you might expect. If you love big, chunky space operas with some gritty realism mixed in, you're in for a treat. Instead of a unified Earth, we've got cultures that have preserved their identities and expanded into space, which means humans are still squabbling like it's the 21st century. You've got political power plays, corporate greed, and defense contractors all trying to keep the peace, or at least their version of it. The main plot kicks off with Lieutenant Jason Renault, a seasoned officer in the SNA, Navy Reserves, who's about to get more than he bargained for. The military's in a weird spot, with a lack of real threats and an overabundance of shiny new weapons that no one really knows how to use. Enter Apex Industries, a giant defense contractor that's made a name for itself by pushing nanotech armor and energy weapons. Jason and his crew are thrust into a mission involving a massive battleship, one that's been hidden for centuries. The ship's tech is way beyond anything the reserves have, and of course, Apex wants to make sure it stays that way. Add in some morally ambiguous AIs, political intrigue, and a healthy dose of space battles, and you've got the setup for Project Nemesis. As the book progresses, Jason and his ragtag crew have to figure out what this battleship really is, why it was hidden, and how they're going to use it before Apex, or any other enemy, can get their hands on it. The story keeps you on your toes, especially as the characters start unraveling the bigger conspiracy that's threatening not just their lives, but the future of humanity itself. All right, let's talk about what I liked about the book. First off, the world building is fantastic. Crudge does an excellent job of crafting a universe where humanity's expansion into space hasn't led to utopia, but rather to a fragmented, almost dystopian society where old Earth conflicts are still alive and well. The idea of spacefaring nations that still hold on to their earthly cultures is fascinating. It's not your typical unified Earth under one government setting. No, this universe is one where old rivalries still shape everything, and that makes the story feel fresh. The battleship itself is a real standout. It's this massive, almost mythical ship that's been kept hidden, and when it's finally revealed, it feels like the ultimate secret weapon. The whole concept of the ship being a testbed for future technology is something that taps into that old-school military sci-fi vibe of cool tech being discovered and explored. The characters are another strong point. Jason Renault, as the main protagonist, is a solid character. He's not some untouchable super soldier or perfect leader. He's flawed, and that makes him easy to root for. The supporting cast are fun and quirky, but they're also more than just comic relief. There's a sense of camaraderie among the crew, and that's what really sells the story for me. These people feel like they've been through the grind and are just trying to survive in a universe that's trying to break them down. Potato-Waffle is a crew favorite, a 4-armed alien chef whose Texas omelets are as legendary as his combat skills. He keeps morale high with his cooking and cigars, then jumps straight into damage control when things go south. More than comic relief, he's the glue that holds the team together under fire. Then there's the AI aspect. The relationship between the human crew and the AIs adds an interesting layer to the story. These AIs aren't just tools. They have personalities, their own agendas, and they're far from perfect. The moral quandaries around their existence, autonomy, and loyalty to their creators are explored well, and that's something I don't see often enough in military sci-fi. Now, it's not all perfect. There are a few things in Project Nemesis that I didn't love, and the first is the pacing. Early on, the book takes its time to set up the world and introduce all the players, which is great for world building, but it also slows things down a bit. There are long stretches where the action takes a backseat to exposition, and while I appreciate the setup, it can be a bit of a slog in some places. Another thing I wasn't crazy about is the predictability of some of the characters and their arcs. While the characters themselves are engaging, the way they evolve throughout the book can be a little too by the numbers for longtime sci-fi fans. You've got your grizzled vet, your quirky alien crew member, and the morally gray leader, who's always one step away from going rogue. I would have liked to see a bit more unpredictability in how these characters develop. Also, the book leans pretty heavily into the whole shady corporation trope with Apex Industries. It's not that it's done poorly, it's just that I've seen it before. And the book doesn't really do much to make Apex stand out as anything other than a typical evil corporate entity. I would have loved to see more depth to their motivations, rather than just being the villain for the sake of it. Oh, and a quick heads up. Project Nemesis has a free virtual voice audiobook. It's computer generated, so not super dramatic, but it gets the job done if you want to listen on the go without spending a dime. Personally, I'd still recommend the print or ebook version if you're more into immersion and character performance. And there we have it. Project Nemesis kicks off the blood and metal military sci-fi saga with a thrilling blend of world building, cool tech, and compelling characters. Sure, it has its flaws, some pacing issues and predictable plot points, but the action and the deeper questions about humanity's future really make it a fun read. This one's definitely worth checking out. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe for more military sci-fi book reviews. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Burn bright and burn enough.